Everyone, welcome to the show. I have new Trump regrets to share with you, new Trump voters entering the find out phase of their journey. So, first up, I have a portion of a video to show you. This is a man who you're going to see and hear. Um, he's a podcaster I've mentioned before. His name is Sean Ryan. So, take a look at what he has to say about how he feels about Trump now.
Pretty quiet about Pam Bondi in front of Congress the other day talking about how the Dow's up to 50,000. Nobody gives a fuck. Because what you should be talking about is how you are going to investigate and prosecute any pedophiles that were running around on Epstein Island that you're affiliated with. But we didn't talk about that, did we? Oh, and what's the excuse? What was the excuse? Oh, if we prosecute everybody, the whole system would go down. Well, you know what that sounds like? You know what that sounds like? That sounds like how Trump ran his campaign. Let's drain the swamp. Doesn't that sound a lot like draining the swamp? It actually is drain the swamp served up to you on a fucking silver platter. But you're not going to take it, are you? You're going to protect pedophiles. You're going to protect pedophiles rather than go after them and hope that everybody's happy that the Dow hit 50,000. Are you fucking out of your mind? I guess the whole drain the swamp campaign promise was another fucking bullshit lie, huh? Man, the lies are stacking up fast. I've never seen so many fucking lies appear in, what, a year? It's only been a fucking year. Look at all the fucking lies.
So I appreciate his honesty and how he feels about this whole thing. The problem with so many of these MAGA podcasters, though, is that they're still unwilling to just admit that Trump is guilty, right? That he more than likely took part in Epstein's crimes. I've seen so many of them. Like, they just miss the forest for the trees. They'll call him out for covering up for other pedos. And then Ryan, which I didn't include, but he went on later in that video to insinuate that Barack Obama brought up aliens recently to distract from the Epstein files. I mean, seriously, Obama is not mentioned in the Epstein files. One of his former White House attorneys is, but he's not. So why would he be trying to cover it up? Oh, but you know who is talking about now releasing all the stuff they have about aliens? Donald Trump. Imagine that. Anyway, next I have a regret to share with you guys from a New York Times article. So they spoke with Gen Z Trump voters, Kai Schwemmer. This person is a member of the Utah Federation of College Republicans. So you know this person is very conservative. And he told the Times this. He said, quote, "We started out not trusting the government, so we voted for Trump and for something new. And now we're watching him turn into the same thing we've had for all this time. If a populist right-wing president is not to be trusted, what does that leave you with?" Good question. Maybe voting for a different party? And then Schwemmer specifically called out Trump for, quote, obfuscation in regard to the Epstein issue. And then the Times spoke with another Gen Z voter who are angry also about the Epstein issue. As with Sean Ryan, most still don't understand that Trump is covering up for himself and not other people. But what concerned me about this is that it appears to be pushing them further to the right rather than to the left, which I'm going to talk about that in another video. But anyway, next up, I have some other social media posts to share with you guys. So someone had asked on Twitter, if you voted for Trump and you now regret it, what made you change your mind? The replies were just not unbelievable, but some of them were really great. So, for example, a guy named Joe said this: "He's a narcissistic, pathological, lying piece of shit, just like his remaining supporters. How could I ever support that? The odds of me ever voting Republican ever again were destroyed by this one person. I hope they lose every seat imaginable. And then another man named Louis replied, and he said this: he covers up for pedophiles. Fuck Trump. And then a man named Kirby told them this: the over-the-top and unlawful use of ICE, and then the handling of the Epstein files. So Epstein is a major wedge between Donald Trump and his voters, and this is not going to go away unless, here's the one out that he might take. If Trump throws at least one person under the Trump train and prosecutes them, it might back off some of his supporters. I think, it could buy him some time. He could then string his supporters along for the next 3 years. Yeah, I think he's looking for an off-ramp, and I think a lot of his supporters are as well. I think a lot of his supporters know deep down that he is guilty, that he is part of this whole, cabal and cover-up, and they want something to hold on to. They just are looking for an excuse to forgive him. Anyway, I will have more of those posts for you guys, but I also have another video to share with you first. So take a listen to this Trump supporter, or Trump voter, I should say, who now regrets their vote.
I did not know that things like that would happen. People that are doing this the legal way, that are going to the immigration office to take care of a lapse of paperwork or the next step in their process to become a citizen. I was like, I want to go and step up and do what I can and protest and be with my fellow humanity.
And then an ICE agent shot and killed a U.S. citizen. That was a kind of wake-up call.
I told someone close to me that that could have been any of us. And her reply back to me was, well, I'd hope you'd have more sense than to ever be at somewhere like that. People hate that I use the word bamboozled, but that's the best way that I can describe how I feel. On the outside looking in, you're like, it was an open book test. Everything was right there. The community that I just left, many of them have "Don't tread on me" flags flying. But you know what their reply back to what happened with Renee is? Just comply. So what is it? Don't tread on me or just comply?
Good question. So the woman that you heard there, her name is Carter Brown, and she is a Georgia resident. She voted for Trump in all 3 elections. And she was one of about a dozen Trump voters who were interviewed by the New York Times recently. And they asked all of them about Donald Trump's immigration policies. Now, sadly, the majority were totally fine with what's going on. I don't know if they know everything or if they're just watching Fear News Network and they're in their little right-wing bubbles and they don't understand. But the majority were like, yeah, this is great. Some of them even want them to go further. But as you heard, these raids and the brutality of Trump's Gestapo has really upset this one woman. And she told the Times, I regret my vote now. So good on her for having a conscience. Good on her for, finally figuring this out. At the same time, it is infuriating that people had to die and so many other lives had to be destroyed before people like this woke up. So next up, I have a post for you guys. It's from a man named Raphael. He replied to a man who was asking about Trump regrets, and he said this: ICE racially profiling people based solely on the color of their skin, and he is protecting pedophiles. So again, people are turning on him, and it seems to be these 2 things that are really upsetting everyone. And you just have to wonder, how did these people not know that Donald Trump was racist? How did they not know that Donald Trump would be someone who would be totally cool with racial profiling? Anyway, another person responded and said that they turned on Trump because of this. Loomer having been inside the Oval Office, George Santos being released from prison. So this is a new one. I was kind of surprised to see this. These aren't issues that typically come up, you know, especially with Trump voters. I mean, most of them like Laura Loomer. So the fact that they're upset that she's now in the Oval Office, glad to see they actually care about corruption, the insane influencers around Donald Trump. And there were more of the Epstein regrets. So one Twitter user responded with this: 3-time Trump voter. The moment he asked why people are still talking about Epstein. That was a big one. That turned off a lot of people. They were like, what the fuck? I mean, what do you mean? Why are we still talking about Epstein? Your entire cabinet was all up on Epstein and talking about how we had to do this. We have to unmask these people. We have to take down this cabal, blah, blah. Now you're saying, what are we still talking about it for? And then another man named Dennis, he wrote this: his protection of redacted names involved with the abuse of children. It overrides anything Trump does that one could perceive as good. Those names were redacted because they are friends and wealthy donors. It is not okay and can never be forgiven. We are not a hunting preserve. Anyway, I will have more of those for you in the coming days, and as well as other regret stories and videos to share. So thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you possibly can, or become a monthly donor. We're going to be doing our hangout this weekend on Zoom, so that's always a lot of fun. We just talk about anything and everything. So, all right, guys, love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.